Welcome to Module 4. We're halfway through the course. Great job. So we just talked about good debt. Talked about debt that goes towards an asset that makes you money, low interest rate debt, debt that can be pushed out longer term, and debt that the interest may be tax deductible. So now we're going to focus on the bad debt. Bad debt is, most importantly, debt that makes you spend money you don't have. Debt that makes you dig further into a hole of constantly just scraping to pay bills, living paycheck to paycheck every month. So bad debt, characteristics of bad debt might be high interest rate loans or credit cards. Debt that may also be bad is the fluctuating payment debt. So again, this is mostly credit cards where the payment fluctuates because the balance fluctuates. So they move that payment on you. Also, some equity lines are interest only and the interest can go up. So all of a sudden one day if your interest rate rises, your payment goes up. So this is also debt you have to be aware of. Other bad debt, cash stores. Cash stores and paycheck advance places. So a place that will give you an advance on your paycheck and then they just say when your paycheck comes in, it gets deducted or you pay us back. They have such huge interest rates. Sometimes 100% I've seen. So if you borrow $100, you now owe $200. They double the amount of money you have to pay back. That's insane. Just stay away from cash stores. In general, if you are trying to manage your debt, you do not want to go to a cash store or a paycheck advance place. So bad debt, again, is any debt that really does not help you get financially ahead. Not only does it not get you financially ahead, but it puts you further behind. So what can be very misleading sometimes is these 0% credit cards or 0% on sometimes like a larger purchase. If you have 0% for 18 months on a mattress or a TV or furniture or whatever the purchase is, they'll give you 0% sometimes for a year, 24 months, 36 months. Here's the key that you need to know that they usually don't advertise to you. If you either miss a payment or if you don't pay off the balance by the end of the period of the 0%, so whatever your promotional period was, if you had 0% for 18 months, if you don't pay off that balance by the end of 18 months, they can charge you back interest for the entire period. So all of a sudden your 0% is this huge chunk of interest all at once, and now that's on your balance. So now you're paying off a payment of both principal and interest of this huge percentage. Usually it's a very large percentage. I would say 20%, 30%, in that range somewhere. So if you are going to start off with good debt, right? Because we said 0% interest is good debt. That's great. But you have to have a plan. This goes back to that mistake we talked about. You have to have a plan to pay it back by the end of the promotional period. Otherwise, that turns into this awful bad debt that now you're just trying to catch up. So again, let's recap. Bad debt is debt that gets you further behind financially. So high interest rate loans, interest rates that can fluctuate or payments that can fluctuate, because that's hard to budget. That's hard to know, right? That's hard to know. All of a sudden my payment can go up whenever and I just got used to paying that payment. That financially can set you off. And then cash stores and cash advance places, cash advances on credit cards, anything that has these astronomical quick cash now, but high interest rates can get you into big trouble. And then finally, look out for those good debt loans that start off as good debt, start off at 0%, but then turn into bad debt very quickly. If you don't have a plan to pay it off by the end of the promotional period, you get all that back interest along with fees and penalties. It can turn into this awful, nasty situation where all of a sudden you're in debt. And if you call and you didn't know, they will have no sympathy for you. You will have all that interest to pay off, and now you have to come up with a plan with paying all that off, which is what we're going to get into. But first, we're going to continue talking about managing our debt. Now you know what good debt is. You know what bad debt is. How do you manage it all? Once you're in debt, how do you manage it all? And then let's focus on getting out of debt.